Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I sit amongst booty.
Thank you very much.
I'm not making a rap video. I've just received some lovely... Oh, you haven't told me that. No, but I've done some unwrapping this morning. I say I've done some unwrapping.
Wow.
Yes.
Haven't you?
Tell them what you got, Frank.
Well, recently I've spoken of two things, and I always say on the show, I'm not one of those DJs who talks about stuff thinking I'll get a free one. In fact, I actually said, I was talking about Tom Daly, the diver, had been pictured with a master pan, which is a multi-compartmentalised frying pan.
Very well described.
Thank you. And I said, don't send me a free one, I can afford it. You know, if I get one, I'll keep tadpoles in it. But they defied me. And because now I've got one, I am quite pleased about it.
Yeah. Can I say you're the only person that would refer to a free gift as they defied me?
But then I'd forgotten I'd also mentioned that someone gave me some Bjorn Borg socks. And they were... I've really got interested in socks in later life.
Yeah?
Used to be the present you didn't want. Then I was messing about with this bag today.
Oh, God, and it was mid-anecdote, and it took forever.
I know, I think you'll find I was mid-anecdote, and then it was interrupted by Frank going, "Oh my God!"
Well, I'd forgotten. It had a lot of tape on it, so I gave up, and then I tried again, and Alun said, "Always up, free socks." And I said, "What makes you say that?" And it had got Bjorn Borg written across the top with large letters, which I hadn't noticed, and glory be. It was a fabulous selection of socks and pants. So I've started off. I mean, I don't want to be materialistic, but I'm buoyant.
Well, in those pants you will be.
Yeah, well, there's room.
I wasn't sure. How can I put this delicately? I wasn't sure about some of the pants.
How dare you?
No, I thought the socks were lovely. I just thought they were quite loud, some of the pants.
But that's all right, because it's not like anyone's going to see them.
Frank was very, very excited by them. I think you remember what he said as he opened the pack. He went, "Ooh, these are lovely!"
As Alan said, like the person from Bjorn Borg was in the room.
It was a bit like a pressurised Christmas gift.
Well, I got a card here which says, you know, we've sent you some, plus some socks, plus a couple of pairs of boxers. Hope you like them. And then it says, it's best wishes, Bjorn Borg. Bjorn Borg or Bjorn Borg? Where does the Björ stop? Bjorn Borg.
Yeah.
Bjorn Borg, I wonder if he's got a brother called Simon.
Cyborg. Lovely.
Bjorn Borg UK, as if there is a Bjorn Borg in every country.
Oh, they're everywhere. They're unstoppable.
I like the idea of there being an English one. Who looks like that, then says, "How you doing? You all right?" "Oh, Bjorn, I thought you were Swedish." No, that's the core. Bjorn Korg, as we call him, 'cause that's the core Bjorn Borg. But no, we've got international Bjorn Borgs all over the place.
Do you know what I love about you?
What's that?
Everything.
Thank you.
I also love that you've managed to turn an incident where you essentially opened an envelope containing some pants into some Peter Ustinov anecdote.
Peter Ustinov, typical me, is the name of his book.
Oh, is that his autobiography?
What sort of a person says that? That's the sort of people on reality telling, well, you know, typical me, I told him. Yeah, typical you. Anyway, if you're listening in somewhere, Peter, I know you're no longer with us, but, you know, you had a good innings. Shut up about it.
Lovely.
I suppose as an anecdote, isn't it? People sit around in heaven going, oh, God, will he ever stop? So here's the thing. I discovered a new term this week called nominative determinism.
Oh, I love that.
Which I'd never heard of before, and it's not as complicated as it sounds. Don't switch off, Linda.
Just Linda.
I'm just.
The rest.
She's yeah, exactly. She's just my typical person who gets bored by stuff like this.
Yeah.
What happened is I worked with a woman a makeup lady, who makes me up for television appearances.
Yes.
And she's very lovely. And I've known her for a long time, and I had a bit of a, you know, we have a thing on the show, an idiotic eureka moment, when it takes you a long time to work something out. her name, I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, she's available for work if anyone's looking for a makeup artist. Her name is Estelle Horder.
Oh.
Which, if you say, is basically Estelle Horder.
Oh, yes.
Which, for a makeup artist, is kind of amazing, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And it's a real name. It's not like they don't have stage names.
No, backstage names. That's what they should have.
Yeah, I suppose so. They have...
That's rather brilliant. I like that.
They have rouge names. Do they still call it rouge?
No.
Anyway.
Nonsense Gone with the Wind. So
Okay. So, I was talking to Dot Brown about this, you know, Dot Brown, the comic and stuff, and he said, oh, that could be nominative determinism. People have name, and your name somehow subconsciously points you towards your job.
Samantha Bond, Miss Moneypenny.
Mm-hmm.
That was the actress.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she's in the Bond films, Samantha Bond.
And Tina Hobley is in Holby City. Well,
you're at least a bit obsessed.
You laugh, but that's a bit too much of a coincidence, isn't it?
Illiterate nominative determinism.
When Arsene Wenger went into football, there
Yes.
must have been part of him that thought, I know where I'm going to end up.
Yeah.
Robbie Fowler.
Yeah?
Good
Yeah.
point.
Very good.
Thank you.
That is good. I hadn't thought of that.
I had.
If only Gary Barlow was an international limbo dancer. If you've experienced nominative determinism in your life or the life of someone you know, please let us know.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
I had what I'm going to call a slightly paranormal experience this week.
Oh.
Slightly.
Well, I'm not saying it was ghostly, but it was.
Was it a Corian?
It was. Well, it was in the old days. There used to be a programme on the telly called Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, and when
Yes.
if anything even slightly strange happened in my school days and stuff, somebody would say maybe we should call Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. Anyway, I woke up. And my first thing when I wake up in the morning is I reach for my wristwatch, which I keep at the side of my bed. I don't wear it in the night, lest I should tear off a winder.
Oh, yeah.
And I've torn off a few winders in my time in the night. But anyway, so I reached down and I picked it up, and it was 8 o'clock, which is about when I wake up, generally speaking. This is, sans alarm.
Right.
And I looked at it, and there's something looked a bit strange about it. But I put it back down, and then I thought again, hold on, what is it with that? So I'm looking at this watch, and I realised that the second hand isn't going round.
Oh.
So it stopped, and now I've had it for probably 3 or 4 years. This is the first time it's stopped, which I don't know how long a watch battery lasts. 8, 12, 15.
No, not as long as that.
No, I shouldn't think so.
Probably about 3 or 4 years, I think.
And I realised it had stopped in the night, and it had stopped at 2:30.
Right.
Now, I had it upside down, so it said 8 o'clock. Right?
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I picked up my phone.
Kind of.
I picked up my phone to see what the real time was, and it was 8 o'clock. So my upside-down stopped phone was correct. Now, if there's any mathematicians listening, I'd like to know what... I think it was Harry Hill who said, what are the chances of that happening?
Well,
The odds must be phenomenal.
no, they're quite high, aren't they? Because isn't there an adage that even a stopped clock is right twice a day?
Yeah, but not
Just
a...
so
Oh, I
happens
love
you
that.
looked
With
at it.
Nell and I.
Yeah, but
Is it
not an
with Nell?
upside-down stop clock. That's an old added dimension that you're letting
Can I
slide
be
by.
completely honest with you?
I don't want to be pedantic, but I
Don't
think,
be-
I think an upside-down
No.
stop clock is right twice a day as well.
I really want to contribute to this.
Yeah.
But about 34 seconds in, when you slightly zone out when someone's talking, I'm not going to lie, so I missed a crucial part of it, and now I feel I can't contribute. So if you two will talk, and I'm just going to look at the emails. I've got to be honest.
I said something similar to this the other week, and Emily said, that is so rude. And now, the boot's on the other foot. It's quite simple. I picked up the watch, it was upside down, but still correct. That's weird.
Okay. Frank, we've
Anyway.
had some texts in about nominative determinism.
Oh, yes.
So we've got
Have we changed the subject?
Yeah.
It does seem that way, yeah.
Don't worry, I'm going back there.
Okay.
Oh, my name is Dave Granger. I'm a survival expert. G Ranger. I don't understand.
D Ranger.
No, G Ranger.
G Ranger.
Ranger.
Don't know why I'm explaining myself. You seem an intelligent bunch. It would seem not.
What's
Apparently
he called again?
his name is Dave Granger.
I think he's saying that the word ranger is in his surname, and now he is sort of a ranger.
Oh,
He's
okay.
a survival. I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't know why
Well-
he's texted us. He just wanted to get involved, I think.
I thought maybe he went with like a backpack flamethrower and removed Granges, so he was a DeGranger.
Well, 127,
Maybe.
a little more straightforward. My mum went to school with a boy called Jonathan Gotobed, and he lived in a village called... Don't worry, this anecdote doesn't end in a sinister fashion.
Right.
And he lived in a village called Little Snoring. That's not really affecting his job, though.
No, I think that's just coincidence.
No, he breeds tsetse flies.
There is a genuine one out here.
I read a few about nominative determinism, but none of them were clean. None of them could be
Really?
broadcast. That I saw.
Well, what
So
about
I'm sorry
657
about that.
has cited, one of the earliest cited examples from the New Scientist magazine was a Catholic bishop called Cardinal Sin.
Yes, there is a cardinal
Yeah.
sin.
yeah.
I think in the Philippines, I think.
Yes.
That'd be a good thing. Like, you can name a cardinal, I have to say where they're from. For the most
Commercial radio.
the most Catholic game ever played on radio. So anyway, look, I was talking to a driver about my watch,
Why do we have to go back to the watch?
I knew we hadn't.
and he said that won't just be a coincidence. He said that'll be significant. He said 8
Right.
o'clock will be significant.
Really?
And I said, well, I do a radio show that starts at 8 o'clock. He said, well, I'll be careful this week. Because
Oh, yeah.
he said, that'll be telling you something. He said, even though the watch is upside down, it was trying to tell you that 8 o'clock was...
The watch is trying to tell you something other than the time.
Yeah.
Dave Granger.
Look, this is not my
Wait.
What do
thought.
you think it is? An iWatch? A smartwatch?
I've got it. Dave Granger. Grave danger.
Ah. Well, I never said there was a spooneristic nominative determinism.
Yeah, but we stopped talking about the watch for a minute. Is he going to keep on about the watch?
Ah,
all
yeah.
I
morning?
think so, yeah.
Who's in charge? Ask yourself that.
Watch this space, I would say. Right?
So he said to me...
No.
Yeah.
I said to me, I need to get a battery. Do you remember when I said to you I saw a sign called "Watch Batteries Changed," and I said that sounded like a pretty rubbish spectator sport? And he said to me, my brother-in-law has got one of them magic screwdrivers.
Oh.
And I was very intrigued by this. And he said there's two things you can do with them. You can change your own watch batteries.
Yeah.
He said, and also, he said, it allows you into the internal workings of a Zippo lighter. I felt I was really learning, like being in a secret society.
Yeah.
So if anyone knows about the secret screwdriver, please do give me a shout.
Oh, please do.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I've been reading the Pope's new book this week.
Well,
You do know we're on the radio,
me
don't you?
too.
Oh, you've got it.
I also have a copy of The Name of God is Mercy.
Fantastic.
And I'm
to
rather
this
enjoying
show?
it, Frank.
Yes.
Well, I'm a fan of Pope Frankie.
I haven't handled the hardback as well for a while.
If we were doing a book group, I think I should have been sent it.
Yeah.
I think it's unfair that 2 out of 3 of us are reading it.
Don't
and I
you
didn't
find when
know.
you're reading a hardback, you feel like you're living the high life?
Yes, I do, Frank.
Yeah.
It's so
I
true.
find them weird.
So Christmassy, I think,
Yeah.
the hardback.
I don't really get on with
Now,
them.
I've started this. First words, Holy Father, love it. I
Really?
rather like it, Frank.
Spoiler alert.
Well, this is
Wow,
your
mate, could
area.
this be a
So,
conversion?
this is your area,
Fantastic.
so over to you.
Well, I mean, I'm far be it for me to plug the Pope's book on commercial radio. It's an interview, so it's quite
Yes.
interesting. It's
Yeah.
just him being interviewed. I mean, it's
It's not a novel or anything. He's
No,
not-
no. It's
No.
it's an interview, so it's a
It's not like a Jack
a
Reacher.
journo asking questions.
Yeah.
It's not like an interview. It's not like Graham Norton.
No.
Right, no.
It's not like a quick fire round.
Uh-huh.
You know, Archbishop of Canterbury, snog, marry or avoid.
And it's not like, what's the worst fashion mistake you've ever had,
No,
or that
no.
sort of stuff, much to
No.
my chagrin.
But I'm loving it. I'm glad to hear you're liking it as well. I tell you what I've indulged in this book, which I haven't done for years.
Yeah.
Marginalia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Very good.
Love a marginalia.
I haven't done... do you ever do that thing? You used to get a book out the library and there was marginalia in ink.
Yes.
Oh, I still regard it as one of the great crimes.
Yeah, I don't
And
like
I'm
that.
including Hatton Gardens. Oh, that's so awful. How can anyone do that? I can honestly say I've never, ever returned to my marginalia and read it, though. It's complete...
Have you not?
No, I've never... Have you done that?
No, I don't think I have, actually.
No.
Frank.
But
Apparently people can do notes in the margins on the Kindle, can't they? Have you got that?
I think maybe you can do that, but that sounds like a bit of a...
I used to find it useful when I was a student,
Yeah.
and previous readers would have made notes, and sometimes
really?
it's quite useful.
right.
Once I had Ulysses from the library, and it said 799 pages and no punchline.
Is that what it
Yeah.
said?
Yeah, I thought it was
That's
rather
a morale.
good.
That is good.
I used to read other people's marginalia and think, that's wrong.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah, regularly. Anyway, it's neither here. I'll tell you what I heard this morning, something I haven't heard probably for 15 years. I heard a car backfire.
Really?
Oh, that doesn't happen often these days.
I'd forgotten it even existed.
I thought they stopped that.
Yeah, I thought they had, and I thought there must, it was some sort of emissions thing. But it's back. Great news.
I'm not sure it is.
Yeah, but the backfiring reinvention revival thing. It was a proper, you know what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I'm going to read one of those magazine articles saying, so hot right now. Cars backfiring.
Yeah, I'm sort of, I'm looking at my car now and thinking, well,
Yeah.
what do I get back? Nothing.
Looking at your fully functioning car and thinking, you're rubbish.
I
You
don't
do
even
that
know
with
what is a
noise.
backfire.
Why do you
You're
backfire, Alan?
I don't know.
Yes, you are our motoring
Yeah,
correspondent.
but not because of any knowledge, just because I drive a lot.
You're the Hammond of the group.
Yeah,
I'm the Clarkson.
Hang on, I'm not comfortable with this.
if you
Do you
knew
think
about,
I'm the Clarkson?
if you did know about backfiring, would you have an exhaustive knowledge?
Yeah, very
Oh.
good. Very good.
If anyone knows why a car backfires, just a car,
they
not
will.
like a horse or anything. If anyone knows why a car backfires, please let us know.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had an email explaining backfiring. If you're interested.
good,
Yeah.
You know, if you've just joined the show, then Frank was asking about why cars backfire.
good. I heard a car backfire this morning. Imagine that.
Yeah.
No, it's not 1988, listeners.
Just a sort of drive
It's-
down memory lane.
Yeah.
Backfiring basically happens when your car's... can I just say, the emailer, I don't think they've done this, but the car apostrophe S, sometimes emails replace apostrophes with like a euro and a TM sign. It's
Oh,
done that.
yes.
Have you ever seen that? What's that all about? If you know what that's all about, text in on 8 12 15. Backfiring basically happens when your car's internal combustion engine has a moment of external combustion, or at least one happening elsewhere than the combustion chamber. A little backfiring on deceleration can exist by design on modern cars, adding to the sporting sound. It also channels what we hear when race cars do it and see when flames come out their exhausts.
Oh, I like that. It's like Batman.
A bit.
Yeah.
A bit.
I have to follow that definition with. I love stuff about internal combustion becomes external combustion and stuff like that. That almost sounds like it's understandable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
Well-
not really into the science, are you?
No,
And
no.
neither
I would
am
say Ian
I.
Angle has a slightly simpler explanation.
Oh, yeah.
I believe the backfiring is caused by unburnt fuel in the exhaust.
Charlie,
By the way,
nodded
great
there.
ladder joke last week, Frank.
Great ladder oh yes,
Yeah.
good old Angloid.
Yeah.
Charlie, you nodded. Do you know about cars?
No, but there's been a few tweets that said that.
Oh, there's been a few tweets.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we can all be wise via social media. Wow. I mean, that's basically looking it up. Well, I was genuinely excited to hear it today and a little misty-eyed. I thought, backfiring.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the 80s. I didn't actually, I was drunk.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
746 has texted us and said, what are Frank and the team's thoughts on the latest development in the disturbing Meerkat-Kidman relationship, where they're seen giggling and flirting over a romantic candlelit dinner?
Yes. Well, I've spoken about this before. I find the whole thing pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
The idea that Nicole, not just because Nicole Kidman, obviously as part of it, things how the mighty have fallen. Not just because she's doing an advert, but because she seems to be mating with another species.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's on the slippery slope to meerkat physicality.
Yeah.
And when it was just today, I thought, well, maybe, you know, but yes, they're more intimate.
They've upped the ante now.
I hope they're not going to. Do you remember there used to be one of Iggy Pop and his own puppet in bed?
Oh, that's gross.
We're not going to get one of those, are we? With a big slithery meerkat coming out from under the duvet.
I don't think it's going to get that far, because I think the next one is going to be when their dinners arrive, and obviously Nicole Kidman's will be like a nice, you know, it'll probably be like some grilled fish and some vegetables. But the meerkats,
What's he gonna have?
like, it's going to be, I don't know, some dead rat or something gross, like some animal food.
They couldn't eat a dead rat. They virtually are a dead rat.
That's a
That'd
good
be
point,
like those.
yeah.
That's like when they put a cow inside a horse, inside a pig, inside.
Would it be some
I
like...
think they eat
I've seen them fed at the zoo.
Meerkats?
Oh, so
Yeah.
what? A little whitebait, maybe.
I think,
Oh, that's
if
probably
I
on the
remember
menu.
rightly, they got prawns.
Really?
Yeah. You look shocked.
I just
I
thought...
think that it's all right. One
it'd be
of them
less
going to
human.
bed with Nicole Kidman, but eating prawns—that's a bit weird.
Oh no, that's too human for me. I thought they'd have some animal-like
What happens
food.
in this latest advert? They have a dinner, don't they? And then he
Yeah.
gets up, he has to go and see his friend. And
Yeah.
then that's it.
I think
Well,
so.
hopefully that'll be an end to it.
Yeah,
You know, we had all this with Melanie Sykes and Churchill.
True.
They were actually filmed on holiday together.
Have you seen that advert where there's a guy chasing sheep around? There's some weird advert at the moment where there's a bloke just in a field, and it's for a search engine or something. I just don't understand
You're a
it.
bit tense.
He's dressed up as a plane.
For a man whose name is Alun with a U.
Hey.
How'd you get that nickname?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I saw a shop this morning on the way in. Unsurprising, as we work in central London, I know.
Yes.
But, and it had those signs all over the window. There was like 20 signs saying everything must go.
Mm-hmm.
And it did strike me that it seems to work. That you see those shops with the everything must go, and they're packed. People they obey.
Law of scarcity.
I think it's just
that
being
what it
told.
is?
People
That's what
want
it's
to be
called.
told what to do. I don't know why people don't put the stickers up when things are still going well with the business,
Well,
rather
you
than
might-
leave it to the last minute.
You might want
Yeah.
to speak to Sport Director Mike Ashley about that, because I think that's
he
exactly his
here?
business model. that's,
Tell him I recycle his bags on a regular basis.
He'd be delighted to hear it.
Yeah.
That's what they do, isn't it? You know, everything must go. Closing down still, and then they open again round the corner, don't they?
What, you mean they lie about it?
No, I wouldn't say that on a commercial radio
No.
station. I think that would be foolhardy.
Everything must go, though. I think
Yeah.
we look at that and we think, oh, we better get in there because everything must go. We have a certain duty.
Maybe they
Applies
buy
to
the
all
signs.
aspects of life.
Maybe they buy the everything must go signs. When they say everything, they really mean, oh no, honestly, everything, even these. We've got to get rid of the everything must go signs.
No one's
So-
ever. What would you do with one of those?
You'd take it to your shop that you're closing.
What
Is
about-
that what they're doing at Absolute Radio?
I mean,
with
what
the-
about if you were when it rushed in for an emergency operation, they find that everything must go, sign in your pocket. That could go
like a big
horribly.
donor card?
Oh, yeah. Except when you woke up, everything has been donated. There's nothing, just vapour where you used to be. But be careful, anyone who's bought one of those recently.
Is that what the OC's doing with the DVDs? Everything must go. There's a bag of DVDs next to me, and it's making me feel ill because it's just this. Why are they all over the studio? It's horrible. What is it?
I think it's a big giveaway on the breakfast show.
Who wants DVDs?
I bought DVDs recently in a
Yeah, but
sale.
that's you.
In a sale.
And we love you.
You've got
but
it in
come
an everything
on.
must go sale.
I know.
Heard of Netflix? I mean, These are the people who watch Merlin.
I've heard of Netflix. Are they a bit like towel flicks
Yeah.
that you used to get in the changing room at school?
Very similar.
Because
yeah.
when you get them right, not only do they sound a little bit like a car backfiring, but they come sharp. I'll tell you that. Yeah, you know, I'll be absolutely honest, I don't really know. This is absolutely true now. I don't really know what Netflix is or how you get it.
Oh, I love you for that. I love you.
That'll be something to talk about during this, when we're off air.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Many of you have. Thank you so much.
Yes. We've had someone tweeted about cars backfiring and said hence the expression an old banger.
Oh, that never occurred to me before.
No. There you go.
Of course.
Now, you know who I think's a bit of a man of the moment is Eddie Redmayne.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But
Eddie Redmayne, can I say, if nominative determinism was accurate, ought to be ginger-haired.
Yeah.
Yes.
He should be.
He's let the side down.
Yeah. But he did something rather drastic. I was reading this week that he said he decided to swap his smartphone for an old school, I won't name the brand, but we all know which one we think of.
He's been involved in more radical swaps recently.
He says he wants to be able to live in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was sick of checking emails all the time and being glued to it. And you know there's a word for mobile phone addiction. It's called nomophobia.
Nomophobia?
Yeah.
Oh.
No mobile phobia, I think it is.
No mobile phone phobia.
They all took advantage of the fact that phone and phobia have got the same prefix.
Yeah.
Phone for phobia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Telephobia.
I'm glad we've worked
Telephobia would have been all right.
I could be scared of telly, though, couldn't it?
Yeah, could be scared of Telly Savalas.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine that. It's all right, he's gone. He's probably sitting there being bored to death by Peter Ustinov. Actually, he couldn't be bored to death. Maybe he could be bored to life by Peter Ustinov.
Typical me.
Yeah.
But he said, as a result, he was on his computer all the time. He said it was checking his emails. He couldn't stop checking his emails. I was a bit like, but how many emails do you get? Not being rude, but you're an actor. You're not Bill Gates. What are people saying to you? Be at the casting at 9.
Yeah, but he's hot.
I mean, come on.
He's hot, though, isn't he, at the moment?
He's a hot actor.
Well, he shouldn't be answering to those sort of emails. Shouldn't be replying.
Yeah. I think he probably gets a lot, but I think they're probably, a lot of them are missable, aren't they? You know.
Yeah, but I just don't see how admin features that heavily in the life of a Hollywood star. I mean, even Frank has Jenny, the PA.
Yeah, but I tell you, I lost I'm sure Eddie Redmayne's got a PA. I lost my phone the other day.
Yeah.
You know when you lose your phone, you get that sick feeling in your stomach. And then when you find it's like winning the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Well, or at least like winning the FA Cup was about 30 years ago and it meant something. And it was that I lost my phone for like 4 or 5 hours and I was sick and it was on silent so I couldn't do the can you ring my phone thing. Anyway, I found it and...
Where was it?
It had gone down the side of the chair.
Oh, I hate that.
You know, the trouble is with the new can I say iPhone?
Yeah, I think you can.
I think people know what I was going to say then. It's slim. It's slimmer than normal. So, those sides of the cushion are just calling
thin.
it. Anyway, I found it. I said I'd lost it 4 or 5 hours, and my joy at finding it slightly undercut by the fact there wasn't one message on it in that period. I don't get many messages.
I text you.
You do occasionally, but I don't get many messages, I'll be honest. It's fine, I can live with that.
Okay.
But Eddie, I imagine, is a popular man.
Yeah.
I do tend to think if someone doesn't have a smartphone, if they have one of the phones he's talking about...
What do you think?
It's like when people don't drive. I always think there's probably something missing. I think if they were questioned, you'd find a period in their life where they might have disappeared and the family were worried about them.
There's something a bit gentleman of the road-ish about them.
Yeah, you meet people over 30 who say, oh, I don't drive. I'm sorry.
Oh, Frank, that's so harsh. Why do you say that?
Because
do you not trust them?
I just think of course you must drive. It's the modern world. Go and see to that now.
Go and see to it.
No, but really.
But what if you miss the driving window? Because maybe there's...
Is that the one at the front with the wipers?
No, but Frank, you get... Maybe once you get to 30, it gets hard to learn, doesn't it?
Does it? Well, how do you get to 30 without learning to drive? Okay, if you're so impoverished, but I find that the people, the very poor, have got a driving licence.
Many of them do,
Can you
yeah.
imagine if I said this?
Can I just say, if there is anybody
I'd be
who
lynched.
can't drive yet and they're like 30...
Don't give up.
I was 27 when I passed my driving test, and I'm now a motoring correspondent on a radio show,
Yeah.
so there's hope for us
27, I can live with that.
all. Thank
Okay,
you.
I think I was about 21 and I've now got a Benz, so hang in there.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Did I mention that?
and a smartphone.
Yeah.
But if you're there with the old phone and you're not driving, if you can't afford it, it's different. But I'm on about people that just have thought it's not important. I mean, to drive. They don't think driving is important. What are they thinking?
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Frank, you've really caused something of a sensation with this your strong views on driving. For example, Tom, what if you live somewhere where it's easier to catch public transport than to drive?
That's what people say in London. You don't. Okay, you might live there, but you do it occasionally. Go out of town.
Okay, next.
What about an away game?
What about an away game?
Frank, I only passed my test a year ago and I'm 41. Passed first time. So this old dog has learned a new trick. I
Lovely.
also have one of these new dangled phones. Get me, Fiona in Torquay.
Well done. See, Fiona might have been a late one, but she always knew it was important to learn to drive. She stuck with it. Respect. Can you say new dangled? Was it a misspelling of fangled?
No, I like to think that was one of her funny little character
I hope
quirks.
so. I'm
that she says
warming to
dangled.
Fiona.
Yeah, I like, and she can drive now.
Yeah.
Well, probably
Okay,
not,
what
given
do you
that she
think
passed
about
first
this?
time.
Or is
so
she
I think
thinking
there's a
one
good
of
chance
those? She got mixed up between something that's newfangled and a dongle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which she thinks is the height of cutting edge
Exactly.
technology.
Next thing she'll be getting Netflix.
Well, yes,
I told you what it was in the
I
break.
think-
What did you think?
I think you'll like it.
I'm going to get it. I said, I'll come round this weekend and sign you up. And he said, no, I don't know if I want to commit yet.
We'll get it for nothing, won't
£7
he?
a
I've said
month
that
or
to
something.
women lots of time when they've said, I'll come round this weekend. It sounds like I don't have the time for Netflix.
What do you mean?
That's true, I think.
You've watched every episode of Celebrity Big Brother this week.
Yes.
How can you say that?
Yes,
Quiet.
but now we're talking a television masterpiece.
Which it really is, by the way.
Yes.
Frank, 923, I didn't pass till I was 30. I just wasn't responsible enough before then. Byron.
Very self-aware.
Well,
That's
Byron.
true. It is true of Byron.
Yes.
Mad, bad and dangerous to know.
He
Well,
grew up
what
with
do
it.
you think of that?
Also, he's got a club foot, I think. Can you still say club foot?
don't-
Can you look that up? Okay.
So, Frank, how would you answer that if he feels he wasn't responsible
No, that's
enough?
what I could say 30. He got under the wire. I mean, that's fine. But he was
Yeah.
someone who at least had bookmarked driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the idea that you can live in the current times and think driving is a choice. Then you just depend. You're one of those people that says you can drop us off at. No, I couldn't. I would drive. Simple as that.
Okay.
Not
Anyway.
sure how we got here from Eddie Redmayne's phone, though.
Well, it was
Well, because he's turning his back
yeah.
on technology.
Yeah.
See, I empathise with that. As you guys will know, I've got a smashed phone. I'm one of those people with a smashed iPhone. You know, the ones that...
It's almost like you don't want to pay for the new glass.
No, I'm due an upgrade, but just the
I
customer
imagine that you
service
just-
conversation.
I imagine you stood and threw it against a wall just to be a man of the people.
I actually dropped it whilst it was in a protective case.
It's
which
odd
didn't
because
work.
I've dropped my phone 20 times. You can imagine at my age
Yeah.
how often
Yeah.
I drop it, and it never
You drop it
breaks.
every time it goes off. You go, "Ooh!"
Exactly. Exactly. What is that?
But whenever we're together, and I do want to raise this because I'm going to suggest something pretty rad, which
Okay.
is that we do, as starting from today, there's a mobile phone amnesty. I don't want people getting their mobile phones out at the brunch. I'm guilty of it. Daisy's the worst offender. And this is a precious time for us to spend together. Alan's good. He doesn't do it.
Well, that's mainly
From now
because
on-
if I use my phone, then I end up with shards of glass in my fingertips
Yeah.
because it's so smashed.
This is
Unless
true.
I use my cling film life hack, where I put cling film on the screen.
That was
I mean,
a
what are we
good
doing
idea.
on these phones? I'm playing Candy Crush normally. Daisy's looking at a 7-year-old photo, wearing leg warmers or something. And you're getting a text from your manager going, great, thank you.
I'm looking at my Herodotus app.
Is that an app?
You're getting Who alerts.
I am getting Who. I tell you, I wouldn't like to live without Who alerts, to be fair.
Well, who would?
Well, I mean, let's look at let me just, the sort of thing that we'd miss out on. Let's see what the current...
They saved the day the other day when you'd lost your phone for 4 hours and nobody had called you, didn't they?
Oh, can you imagine the lot of Doctor Who news I got? Yeah, why I love the Seeds of Doom, you see? Oh, and Robert Banks Stewart has died. So, you know, I wouldn't know either of those things if I didn't have Who news.
Well, so what do you think to this, my suggestion?
Well, the trouble, I tell you what, I always think if you, I love the idea. I know, I like where it's coming from. Let's go back to human contact.
Okay.
What if there was a fire at my house and I didn't know about it?
Well, you just get there an hour late.
If the,
Yeah.
oh, is that all right?
You know, that used to happen.
Okay. Luckily, I drive.
That's a good point.
You
don't drive a fire engine.
We can try. If
No,
our
you're allowed
phones
the
rang,
ringtone on,
if
but
it
that's
rang,
it.
okay.
You're allowed the ringtone, but nothing else.
Okay, well, let's do that then. Because I know what you mean. I start showing photos that I've got, because I feel conversation slip. If I'm not careful, conversation slips into what I would call ordinary people conversation.
Yes.
And what do people say? They say things like, oh, so what did you eat last night?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, if anyone talks about food or clothes, Frank hates it.
Well, I don't hate it, but, you know, I think you can have time off when I'm with you. Don't waste the resources.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Is there only me that when a gadget becomes faulty or damaged, like my phone, or I have a little keyboard for my iPad, and the bit where you put the iPad in,
Oh, yeah.
is sort of snapped, so it now falls out. But rather than get really vexed about it like a lot of people do, I just stop using it as much. Is that normal? I feel like
all
there's a
right.
sort of a stoic calm about me. Is that?
Yes.
I think of you as a stoic, certainly.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I bought a shower radio.
Oh, did you?
You bought something?
Yeah, I bought something. Yeah.
He's so got it in a goodie
And
bag
I'll
at
tell
Graham
you
Norton
something.
show.
Can we just stay on this?
That's the last thing I buy. It was.
Why didn't you just mention it on here and then tell people you didn't want it?
Well, I didn't know then that. I don't like doing that anyway. Can I say that the booty I got today was accidental?
Thank you very much.
Respect. So I bought a shower radio. Have you ever seen them?
I've heard of.
Oh, is it
such
called a shower
device.
ranger?
Shower radio.
Oh, I thought it said shower ranger.
It's a man who
Shower
wanders
Ranger.
around in the shower.
It's like a pun on Power Ranger.
Yeah, I like that.
No, it's a power shower.
Power Shower Ranger.
So it's in the shape of a fish, I suppose, because it's waterproof. It's they want to intimate that by its shape.
I'm going to drive that point home.
Yeah, so it sticks. It's got a socket on the back of it, so you stick it on the wall of your shower and then just tune into the radio. When it first worked,
But I'd be stiff with stress.
Why?
Or the thought of it, not the sucker failing and it falling into the shower.
Well, it's in the shower. It's all right if it gets wet because it's
What if it
waterproof.
breaks and all the wires come out?
Well, that'd be terrible, admittedly.
Don't think it's like a robot that's going to attack the owner.
No, but it was nice because, you know, if you put the radio on outside the shower, you never really hear it.
No.
I mean,
No.
it's not so bad since I've moved on to the sort of that I don't turn the water on till just the beginning and the end.
Of course, yeah.
But anyway, I was very pleased with this thing. It lasted about less than a fortnight. And one morning I put it on, and I'm not exaggerating, I switched it on, and it went... like the most terrifying, like a parrot in a blender type of sound.
Are you
And
sure
I
that
was
wasn't Kath?
And I was turning the tuning thing, and it just continued like that. So it was. I mean, it was terrifying. I couldn't turn the volume down. I couldn't stop this horrible screeching.
Do you think it was a sign, like your watch being at the right time? That,
Yeah.
Do you think it was a sign?
Well,
It's trying to tell you something.
Well, it's been a while ago, so it must have happened.
Oh.
But anyway, I left it in there. It was on there for ages. It became, you know, when something's been in the shower for a bit, it gets that sort of film, that silvery film on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it got
nice.
that. And every now and again, I mean, literally, like, every 5 or 6 weeks, I just think, well, maybe. Just in case it had somehow righted it. In the end, I binned it. What a day that was.
Yeah. You see, I wouldn't have that, Frank, because I love a sing-song in the shower. I have a shower song. Do you have a song you always sing?
I have a selection.
Well, I'll tell you, I want to hear yours, and yours, Alan. I always sing, for some extraordinary reason, Chesney Hawkes' I Am the One and Only.
Oh, okay.
Because I think I sing it very well in the shower. Not out of it.
Forgive me for this, but I think you probably sing that song fairly frequently, not just in the shower, isn't it?
When I'm in the shower, I sing You Are the One and Only, whilst pointing.
What? Oh, Christ.
Sorry, everyone. Can I do that again, Steve? What, live? Oh.
What do you sing, Frank?
I sing Blue Bayou, the old Roy Orbison sort of semi-hit.
Oh, lovely.
I feel so sad I've got a trouble mind. The echoes of the shower, it gives you a sort of the Big O type.
Yeah.
What about you, Al? Raindrops keep falling on my head. You don't sing
I don't,
that
but I will
shower.
from now on, because I've just thought of it. That's a good idea, isn't it?
Respectamundo. Do you sing in the shower?
Yeah, but I don't have a particular song. I'll just I'll mix it up. You know,
Sit with you.
bit of Les Mis,
That's
bit
what
of
people
Phantom.
say. Well, I like all sorts of music, really. Really? In that case, you like no music. Now learn to drive.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Have any of you ever used a selfie stick?
No.
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 Me neither.
I use something called a photographer. That's my selfie stick. 936 has texted us. Hi, Frank. You said on Room 101 that you can't ride a bike. As you say, you always like to be learning something. I wonder why the bike is a no-go. I'd like to set a challenge that you're able to ride a bike to the studio within 4 weeks.
Blimey.
Your son will be proud, as will Britain. Cheers,
Yeah.
Daz Humphreys.
That's a good point.
Now, what do you say to that? Because I wonder whether that is a slight, there's a bit of a dig that you've been criticising people for not driving, yet you can't ride a bike. Because I should say I can't really either.
He didn't make that dig. I think you've added that.
Well,
No,
I've
I
added
think
that because I'm
I
defensive because I can't ride a bike.
I think he is making that dig, though.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
think
you
so.
could say that a bike is essentially a child's vehicle, and the car is for grown-ups.
I agree.
Yes, I think that's fair enough.
And also, Frank, when I was with my goddaughter Honey recently. We went away. Neither of us are great at riding bikes.
No.
And both her parents were laughing at us because we couldn't ride the bikes. And Honey brilliantly pointed out, when in your life is someone going to say, quick, grab these bikes? Which I thought was a very good observation. You will need to drive. That's a life skill. You don't really need the bike.
No, I mean, at the same... I know Alan is very pro-bike.
Is he?
He thinks once, thinks twice, thinks bike.
Yes. Yes, I do.
I did, I don't know if this... I must have mentioned this in the past. We've been on air now for, I think, 7 years nearly.
Just today. Yeah.
Feels like it.
That was just a watch anecdote.
I like that in the end.
Oh, there you go. I turned it round.
You did.
That's why it said 8 o'clock instead of 2:30.
Yeah.
No, but I did have lessons. Do you remember that?
In biking?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do remember
No,
that.
I remember the swimming ones,
the
but not-
local council where I live gave free bicycle lessons, so I had a couple of lessons there.
So you learnt?
What the man didn't like is when he said stop, I leapt off rather than pressing the brakes. There was a point, I didn't think this would happen. The bike sort of carried on without me. Like, you know when a jockey falls off a horse? You get those, like, really... Never does a horse look more stupid than when it continues in a horse race. Continues jumping fences on its own. You think, look at that horse. Where's his motivation? So anyway, I did that, and I was a bit nervous, and then I went into the country for some lessons.
Right.
Oh, you've given it a good old go.
Yeah, on the quiet road, and I paid this time. I paid a man to do it, and he's very nice. And I was actually riding a bike. I was riding around this sort of... They had cars on, but they weren't roads. And then he said to me, and I'm going to be upfront about this, he said, next time we'll go out on the road. And I became so frightened, I cancelled the next lesson.
Oh, I understand that.
There you go. So, yes, but I would like to be able to just, jump on my bike and tootle across London.
Would you?
I think we can do this. I think, yeah, I don't think it's beyond you.
I like the idea of people...
Is it beyond me? It is a bit.
No,
I think
I
I wear
think
the wrong
both,
clothes for it.
Well, I was Reader of the Year in 1999, and when you look at some of the
Been trading
bombs
off
on
it
bikes,
since, haven't
you think, I'd like people in cars staring at my bomb like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you get a bit of rain down the cleavage. Excellent.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a text. Frank should learn to ride a bike because then he'll never have to stop at a red light again. Can we just say that we totally disagree with
yes,
cyclists
can we say that
jumping
Absolute
red lights?
Radio thinks that cyclists should stop at red lights?
Yes,
Yeah.
but he should learn to ride a bike because why not?
Yeah, I agree.
We got some emails in. I thought we were thinking of
should we get to the
shall
corner?
we?
You're sashaying again, are you?
Yeah, why not?
Let me see.
Oh, I'll sing it because we can't find it.
No.
Any excuse. Knee by gum, nail corner.
I love that.
It's good, isn't it? Dear Frank, Emily and Alan, long-time reader, I've listened to every podcast since the first ones in 2009 and
Shut up.
honest, and all the Not the Weekend podcasts back then.
God, I forgot they existed.
Oh,
I know they're
sat in
out
that
there.
little studio.
They're out there. You were talking recently about things you don't like the sound of. On a similar subject, something I don't like the feel of is the front cover of the Guinness Book of Records 1998.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Totally. It's got like a 3D can I just say it like that? It's got like a 3D hieroglyphic which feels strange to touch. I call it the Zizzy sound and feel. That's from Danny Elson.
I love Danny Elson. He's my kind of guy.
Yeah, he's. It was worth waiting for his first
An
ever
example of an
contact.
excellent email, I think. Yeah.
Is it the one that was? There was one that was a bit a bit like Vertigo, spirally on the cover of the. Of the
No,
Guinness
I
Book
know
of
what he
Records.
means. It is like the little Visa symbol thing, and it's all. Oh, I know exactly. It's
Yeah.
raised. It makes me feel a bit ill as well.
I think actually we were sent the recent Guinness Book of Records, and it
Yes.
also has a hieroglyphic.
I forgot that.
It makes me feel like sometimes when I watch the snooker on the television and they rub their hand on the table, it makes me. But other times it doesn't when I'm not thinking about the felt.
Okay.
It's weird, isn't it?
I handled a pig the other week. And
Are we still on air?
Your Honour. And you know, whenever pigs are depicted graphically, that is in cartoons, depicted. Yeah.
I still don't like this.
You know when they're depicted graphically, like in a butcher's window, and that they might have an
yeah.
apron on and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Or I suppose
Cartoon pigs.
obviously Peppa Pig, or or those kind of Piglet. They're always smooth in appearance.
Yeah.
Really,
Yes.
really smooth.
Yeah.
But
actuality.
in the real world, I touched this pig, and it was.
And I liked it.
I touched a pig. No, I didn't like it. It was really hairy and coarse.
Your witness.
Of course.
You know that hair you find on crackling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that
But
hair.
underdone.
I think they should be sheared like sheep, and then their hair should be. You should be able to buy a pig hair waistcoat.
It's not good hair.
It's bristly, sinuous and bristly.
Yeah.
But there can be a use
Sparse.
for that. It would.
It's a bit.
It would
Can
fill
I
a
be honest?
hassock.
What that hair is, Frank? It's a bit what you'd expect to find under a middle-aged man's hat
Oh.
Maybe.
when he hasn't had the transplant.
Or a middle-aged pig's hat. Actually, they don't seem to have it on their head.
No.
Weird.
No.
That's a strange turnaround. The whole pig world is topsy-turvy. No hair on the head. The back should have gone to neck savers. That's what I say.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Well, M. Knight is pointing out on Twitter holographic, not hieroglyphic, unless the Guinness Book of Work Records was made in the desert by slaves.
Oh, I thought it
I thought it was
meant.
an Egyptian.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be like the most. Oh, it's a hologram. So it's a hologram.
Yeah, when you tilt it one way, you see a
Oh.
picture, and
Thank
they
you,
are
Knight.
quite scratchy, aren't they? You know, last week you were saying
They're
that
itchy and scratchy.
you were wondering what happened to those really thick rubber gloves that you used to see on telly that were built
In
into the wall.
laboratories. Yeah,
Yes, that was Frank's version of whatever happened to Spangles.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to those laboratory gloves?
For handling isotopes.
Yeah, those laboratory gloves, they're the only way that I can read the Guinness Book of Records because of that scratchy cover. So they do come in handy.
We're talking about things that... I'm talking to the audience now, don't panic. I don't do this often, it will be all right. We're talking about things we don't like the feel of, keep it clean.
Yes.
On the book front... I'll tell you what I hate. You know when you get a dust cover on a book?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it slips a bit, and you pick the book up, and you think you're going to get the solid cardboard or the hardback, and you get the unsupported, sharpish end of the slipped book cover.
Goodness, that's specific.
I hate that.
I like that you've even picked up on that.
Yeah, it's really... It's the thing where it felt so sturdy, and now it feels so weak.
Now... like so many things.
Yes, like us all, eventually.
Now, boys, where do you stand on velvet? Because I've encountered a number of men in my life, and that's the end of that story. And majority of them don't like velvet. How do you feel about velvet?
I don't like it the way it collects the lint.
No.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lint magnet.
Yeah.
Isn't it very good for not picking up creases, though? So a velvet
exactly
suit
that, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
You wouldn't wear a suit, velvet. A jacket, I can imagine, in extreme circumstances.
What sort of extreme circumstances?
Well, I don't think I've ever owned a velvet anything.
A velvet suit apparently is very good for the performer because you can chuck it in your bag and then boom, it doesn't need. But
once you start going on stage in a velvet suit, what are you going to do? Go compare?
I'm going to start wearing velvet suits for my.
You are not
for my downbeat.
Are you?
Slightly miserable stand-up.
Are you going to get all big white teeth as well?
That would be fun, wouldn't
Don't
it?
get the teeth.
No, I can't. I can't.
You can't picture that. Me going, have you ever noticed pizza toppings? They're like this.
Did I tell you I watched that?
Velvet.
Did you watch that Dominic Sandbrook documentary about popular entertainment?
I think I've got it on the old Sky Plus.
And he was talking about the Beatles and what a massive influence. Did I tell you about this before? What a massive influence the Beatles were. And he found an old copy of the Sunday Times from like '64. And someone had written in a letter defending the Beatles because people were saying they should not have got an MBE and all this, and he said, no, it's absolute, this bloke said, you forget, that their great achievements. He said, no one can measure what they've done for the British corduroy industry. And of all the things you said about the Beatles, that's one that tends to get forgotten.
It does get overlooked.
Yeah. And corduroy, I'm low, I don't think I could wear a corduroy suit.
I used to own a corduroy suit, yeah.
Oh, no. Corduroy shoes, do you remember when they were big?
Oh, yeah, I quite like those.
Anyway, this is getting a bit spangles now. But you don't like the feel of velvet, is that what you're saying?
Don't like velvet. I know this is a bit basic, but of cotton wool. I mean,
really?
That's no surprise there.
I don't mind that.
Cotton wool?
Cotton wool.
Oh, no, I'm all right with that.
Are you getting cotton wool confused with rock wool? The quite abrasive cladding fabric that is used in the building trade.
I've forgotten all about that, rock wool.
I mean, that's really sore. You don't want that. Okay. Especially don't get it confused with cotton wool.
Is this the strangest link we've ever done?
I'm letting it run as well. I've got a note saying, please press the adverts, but I'm just ignoring it, because it's the sort of link that might go somewhere good if we wait maybe an hour and 45 minutes.
Let's give it a go.
How long should we wait?
I've got no appointments.
No, I think we've got to go. I've got red lights.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email us through the Absolute Radio website.
As you guys may or may not know, I'm not a particularly massive news junkie. I'm not one of those people that's always glued to the 20... But I do scan the Daily Mail occasionally.
Do you?
For, just for funny stories, basically.
Don't you just look at some unknown American actress in a bikini? That's why people go to the Daily Mail
How
online.
dare you? That's not the kind of guy I am.
Somebody with a surname for a
Cochrane Alun.
When I
shows
saw
off his
this,
curves.
Skinner Frank showing Merv Wilbur what he's missing. That kind of news.
No, showing Dean Emily.
That's not what I'm all about. But let me just tell you this. When I saw this headline, I had to take my iPad over to my wife and show it to her, and she lolled. She ruffled nearly.
She lolled.
Very nearly ruffled.
Did she ruffle copter?
She wasn't quite at that stage,
Okay.
but she was definitely lol. The headline reads, Good Samaritan buys a McDonald's meal for a homeless man she saw eating pots of ketchup, only to find it was an ordinary customer waiting for his order. And
That's a headline.
that's a long headline,
What do they
granted.
find to write underneath that? It just says, as above.
Yeah.
See above.
Pretty much. I really enjoyed this story.
I did.
I've never really got that thing of people buying people dinner.
Oh, I thought you meant the homeless.
I don't get that either.
No.
Oh, hang
So
on.
sorry,
What,
tell
are we
us-
on? We
you
on
don't-
air?
You don't understand why someone would buy someone else dinner?
I just think...
It's not that tricky a concept, is it?
Yeah, I've been off the singles market for a while, what can I say?
Lucky for you, then.
No, but that thing of, like, assuming that somebody is homeless and
Right.
buying them a sandwich or something, I just think, well, talk to the person, surely, and say,
Yeah,
do
it's
you
a
want a
much
sandwich?
cheaper option.
Or
Yeah, but
would
you can't
rather
go
have-
over and say, "Are you homeless?" You don't
Would
want
you
to draw
rather have the
attention.
money for white lightning or whatever it is that you're going to buy with it? You know, I'm just...
Well, I have heard, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard of people saying that they've given homeless people sandwiches and they've just thrown them at them in rage.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But that seems unlikely, doesn't it?
But that's not what happened. She saw the
No.
guy,
He was, to be,
unshaven man with rucksack, feasting on tomato sauce.
he was
Yeah.
eating it directly from the dispenser, to be fair.
But it doesn't mean one of those
Legend.
squidgy tomato ones, does it? You don't get
No, I
those in
think it's
McDonald's.
the,
do you?
like the big...
Yeah.
But
I
when he
don't
was
really go
eating
in.
it, what did he have as like a water fountain? Like
Yeah,
a drinking
yeah.
fountain?
He was
Or was
putting
it in
his-
his hands? Where was the ketchup going?
I think probably he was underneath it like a, like you
A
might,
drinking
like you
fountain.
might
Yeah.
drink out of the say the private parts of an ice sculpture. Sometimes people
Like a
drink
vodka luge.
vodka
Why
out of.
go there?
Yeah. Well, that's what I said when I saw it. Yeah, couldn't I just wait till it's coming out of the knee? I said, and they said, no, we haven't got all night.
She was so embarrassed. She ran out of the restaurant in shame.
I think restaurant's probably too strong a word. But yeah.
Can I say,
Says the man who thinks it's an extravagance to buy someone dinner.
I was cooking myself dinner the other night, and I was warming up a shepherd's pie,
Lovely.
and then I'd got some oven chips.
It's a lot of potato,
I
isn't
love
it?
that.
It is a lot of potato.
Any salad?
What did
Any
you have with
greens?
it?
Yes,
Some waffles?
Well, yes, I had some. I had. They are waffly versatile. I had some beetroot, just from the packet, uncooked. I was just eating that just cold.
Oh, that's a
Lovely.
strange. I quite like that. Strange bedfellow.
So what I did was, while the shepherd's pie was warming up and the oven chips were doing, I ate the beetroot.
Beetroot.
Because I
Right.
thought, I don't have to eat them all together.
No.
While they're cooking, I might as well eat this bit.
Well, exactly.
I reckon this bloke has thought, well, while I'm waiting for the burger,
Yeah.
I might as well have the ketchup now, save time.
Good point.
That's fair enough.
As I used to say, it all goes down the same hole.
That's true.
I have to admit, I've eaten ketchup on its own. I mean, never straight from the dispenser, ice sculpture style. But I have, if there's a big blob left on the plate, I'll eat that.
First time I did this show, we were walking through the offices downstairs, and you ate a sugar cube just off a table that was in a bowl.
I'm a bit like a horse in that respect.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
I love a sugar cube.
Maybe he was using it as stage blood to up his begging money later. Is that a possibility?
And I love the fact that she said she was absolutely mortified. I've got to tell you, this woman, a guy that's standing in the queue eating tomato sauce is not that unhappy about having to have 2 Big Macs.
I
He's
think he was
totally
out.
fine with
I
it.
think
Yeah.
he was at a table, wasn't he?
Oh, was he?
I think he'd
Does she
sat.
buy food for everyone she thinks is hungry? She should come into our office at InStyle.
I honestly think that he was just saving time. If he'd have been
Yeah.
waiting for a filet-o fish,
For my
do you know
vibe.
that? So I love one of my favourite Irish singer-songwriters. If he'd have been waiting for a filet-o fish, he'd have been having the tartare up
Yeah.
front. That's my theory.
Yeah.
If that man is listening, then he's not homeless, we've established that, so it's all right to mock him.
I think so, yeah.
Well, respect. Well done, mate, for having a house. Oh, press the button, Frank. I don't want to.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
I did feel quite sorry for this woman, though, because that was a good deed gone a little bit wrong.
But doesn't she come out of it well? She did. I think she went to the papers as well.
Yeah, I like that. I was absolutely mortified. I had to rush straight to the press.
Because she's basically saying I'm a good person.
Yeah.
Ultimate. I was in a cafe once in Harborne in Birmingham.
Right,
And occasionally there was what they used to call in those days tramps. Was a bloke about 50 odd who came in with about 9 overcoats, one of those old traditional. And they used to let him sit in there and have a cup of tea, and they were very, they never chucked him out. And a bloke came in, and I can still picture he had like a trilby and that on. He came in and he went over to this. Can you still say tramp? You can if it's retrospective.
Yeah.
He went over to this tramp. He says, mate, you don't drive a blue Ford Mondeo, do you? Because it was he was blocking his car in. And the tramp went, no, I don't, sir. No. It was, I thought, why did you think he did? Because he thought even he would drive. Simple as that. Looking back, he was right.
What about my incident at the stables? So this is at my stables. As you know, I'm an equestrian these days. I'm at my stables. There's the little bit where you pay, and there's a mother with her child. She must have been about 7 or 8, the child. And a bloke walks in with his daughter, who's a bit younger, about 5 or 6. Suddenly, the younger child starts talking, as they do, to the 7 or 8-year-old, getting to know her. And the 7 or 8-year-old pushed the younger child, and I thought it wasn't very nice.
No.
The mother said nothing, which I thought was rather rude. Just said, that wasn't very nice. And the father walked out with the girl. So I felt so sorry for this father and her daughter, and I thought something had to be said. So I walked over and I said, can I just say I thought that was horrible, and I hope your daughter's okay. And he looked at me, slightly horrified, and he said, well, you know what sisters are like. I criticised his other dauter. It was and his wife, and...
Oh, you hadn't said anything really bad, though.
Well, I was about to.
That terrible woman. That horrid child.
I didn't have to. My face said it all.
Oh, that could have gone wrong. What about? I was in Birmingham, sitting having a meal, and it was freezing cold. This has been several years ago, when it used to get cold.
Oh yeah.
And there was a busker outside, and she looked blue with the cold, frozen. And I felt really sorry for her, so I went out. When I left, I went over and gave her £20.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah. And this is a different version of I suppose, of a good deed gone wrong, because that was it. I walked away and left it. To be honest, I've never really got over it. Even now, I think, when I said it then, I thought, why did I do that? £20. So,
why did you do that?
What you wasted that on? Well, I could have bought something good with it that I'd have liked.
Yeah.
But really, I've never quite got over it.
I can see why you're telling this story, but I could also see, the agony in your face.
Yeah.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text in. I'm not sure if this will be answerable. Hi there, is DAB coming soon to Gothland, do you know? Where's Gothland? Is that a bit of Yorkshire?
Is it Gothland?
Gothland.
Oh,
I thought it was Gothland. I thought it might be
Robin Hood's Bay.
Yeah, something like that.
I thought it was Camden Town.
Yes.
Is DAB coming soon to Gothland, do you know?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I think it's Feb 11.
Feb 11.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they...
I don't have a time with me, but we can...
I'm not sure if they realise they've texted Absolute Radio. Maybe they think they've texted somebody else.
My favourite tweet we've had this morning is from Thomas Story, who's referring back to... You were mentioning an email you'd got in with strange apostrophes in it.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, odd characters instead of apostrophe means your email client doesn't properly support Unicode characters. There you go.
Oh, that was my second guess.
Surely there's no such thing as a Unicode.
Good point. It's a mythical
I went
creature.
to school with a kid called Tom Story. He was one of those kids who looked like a man was in the class. Like he was, muscular and hairy and stuff when he was like...
Oh, I love
11.
those. Yes, those men.
Really?
Child men. I know them.
I remember he used to kick the ball really hard, sport the whole game.
Oh.
Anyway, if you're listening, Tom.
Good story.
I wonder if he's caught up or if he's still, like, you know.
Maybe.
Can I just... There's one final... Well, it might not be the final one, but it's pretty... she's quite emphatic. This is from Gillian in Huddersfield on the subject of not driving. I'm 47 and have never learned to, nor wanted to learn to drive. It is not because I am poor or intellectually challenged or a freak. I just don't want to. I like trains and buses.
Now...
Okay.
Did you deliberately edit that? Because I think they said it's not because I'm a POV, which is...
Yes, because I believe that's an offensive thing to say.
It is an offensive, but I haven't heard it for so long.
I've never heard that before.
I don't like it. I thought it was not...
I think it's
not
very
acceptable.
Yorkshire, that.
Oh, is it?
It's really Yorkshire.
It means like a poverty thing.
I think it is, yeah.
Never heard that before.
I did edit that. I didn't feel it would sound good coming from my accent.
sorry to highlight it.
Well, Cockerel put it back.
It really made me laugh. I had some tech support recently, and I've got to tell you, I feel like I might have overreacted. I had what I think was a privacy invasion. We've had some internet problems. We changed supplier and it's not...
All right. Did you clear history, love?
Blah, blah, blah. Well, bear with.
Okay.
Here's what happened. We ended up having an engineer come round and saying, oh, yeah, your Wi-Fi's not...
I love that they're called engineers.
Yeah.
You know, engineers should be like Perkins in...
Exactly.
Mommy on the Orient Express. Should be blue overalls covered in grease and a muffler.
Well, he was more like that than, engineer as in horn rim spectacles and a bow tie. He was definitely more of the high-vis jacket, thick safety boots, massive hands.
What, to do your computer?
To do the Wi-Fi on, like, the broadband and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he ended up out on the street and then he's coming in.
Well,
haven't we all loved?
So next thing, I'm in the kitchen making myself a cup of tea and my wife shouts, Alan, can you come through, please? And I walk through and this massive-handed man is there with my iPad in his hand. She's put the code in. She's opened it up. Of course
she has. Bet she has.
They're on the internet and he goes, how come you've got all these different bits up and why are they running like that? Like 4 or 5 different... You know when you leave you click on tabs, that's the one.
Yeah.
I'm not very technological, but I had like 5
but
tabs
surely that's
open.
his job to look at stuff like that, isn't he?
Mine?
Isn't he?
I'm not sure that he should just be given my iPad by my wife, and then he's there with his big hands and his high-vis jacket on.
It's all gone a bit Robin Asquith, Confessions of an Engineer.
Who's the villain in this story? The wife? The engineer?
Yeah,
the person with
The wife,
something
the
to
engineer,
hide.
the comedian and her lover.
I didn't like the fact that he could see what websites I look at.
What have you got to hide?
Well, they're pretty boring, not
Bigfoot babes.
No. More boring than that. It was like...
okay.
Well, come on, you met your accountant, see your bank statements.
Yeah, that's different though, isn't it? He's not wearing high-vis and safety boots and having massive hands. And
I only let my accountant see my bank statements because I like watching him punch the air.
But then he was like... My wife said, oh... Do you need all these open? She said, do you need all these open? And I was thinking, well, I don't need the article.
So she was on his side. I hate it when people come round from outsiders.
I do.
And your partner sides with them on things.
Totally.
I had this with the Jehovah's Witnesses.
And also, like, 5 windows were open on the iPad. That's not what's slowing down our internet in this day and age.
Of course it's
2016.
not.
They could put a man on the moon, can't they? Like, Tim Peake wasn't going, I'd better close eBay before I do the spacewalk.
Yeah, but
in
some
case
of
I
those,
overwork the machine.
big feet sites, they take you to places that are... They've got a verroof.
They take you to the sort of places where a lot of pop-up poker windows come up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you can get lots of... I mean, I went on Bigfoot Babes. I didn't get a virus, I got a verruca.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So my question basically is... Did I overreact, or was my wife right to give a complete stranger my iPad and put the PIN number in so that he could see that I read really boring articles about how to stretch your muscles after a workout, or...
Was that how I explained them away?
AA routes from
lunges.
Peterborough to... Yeah, that sort of stuff. I mean, really
Ladies
dull.
who lunge.
No,
Is that what
not
you were
that.
looking at?
Not that. Like, more boring than that. Like, just literally articles about lunges. Like, really boring.
I don't know what you think, Frank. I would say there's no heroes in this story, really. I mean, everyone has their own shame.
Well, I
Yeah.
think if he... Was he offering help other than the you've got too many things open?
No.
Tabs.
And then he didn't fix it, and we had to upgrade to, fibre optic or something. Ugh.
You see, since I've... how can I put it? Reformed as far as the internet is concerned. I'm so proud of my history now. I want the world to see it.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? It makes me feel pure. So I feel, I don't know. I mean, I'm not calling you a liar, but you sound like a man who's hiding something.
No, well, there's private browsing for that sort of stuff, isn't there? But
Is there? I don't know. I'm out of touch.
Of course you don't.
Don't need it anymore.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Don't need it anymore.
So what did you do? Did you snatch it? Did you snatch it away from him?
I sort of went, yeah, these are the windows that are up. I was looking at them thinking, well, the Brain Pickings is a website that I go to. It's full of, like, kind of intelligentsia articles.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that would have been up
Brain
his Strasser.
Pickings. That will be at a dating site for the thinking
intelligentsia.
women. Yeah.
That'll be the Slim Pickens fan site. You know who Slim Pickens was? He used to play the sort of... Well, I don't know, Sheriff. I'm back to my Wild West old time. That's where I feel at home.
That's your comfort zone.
It is, yeah. Sure is. You know, you're a pretty looking lady.
That's why when you go for auditions, Frank, for things like The West Wing, you don't get them because you can't do an American accent without doing that one.
No, well, I was explaining this to David Tennant only recently.
Oh, what were you saying?
Clang.
That I had to do this thing, and it was an American drama, and I read a part for it. I auditioned for it.
You didn't do the old oil prospector voice, did you?
I did, and so I had to say, "Oh, sorry, I thought you knew I'm gay," or I think that was the line.
I didn't say it in that voice.
Yeah, so the only
Well, how did
American
you say it?
accent. So I said, "Well, I'm sorry, I thought you knew I'm gay," and didn't get the part. But there must be Americans that talk like that all the time.
Yes.
Maybe not saying that.
But they tend to have clay pipes, which you don't get in the big American dramas. Anyway, what else?
Well,
Hello? By the way, this my new master pan.
Oh, yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Broil.
Yeah.
To broil something. What is that?
Isn't it, like to
Do you know-
shallow boil it?
Oh, is it? It's a,
Is it? I thought.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that just boiling it?
oh, it's a version of
That
boiling.
R signifies something. I thought it might be a cross between to fry and to. I suppose that'd be to froil. But broil, it's something you hear said, but I've never really questioned what it was before. Someone will know.
Someone
Look
will
at
know, so text it. 999 has texted
What?
us.
Oh, yeah? Oh, no. Can you tell them I popped out for a minute for some 20
No, I
Peter
think
Stuyvesant?
it's that fireman I met 10 years ago. He says, Alan, novice mistake. Always close your tabs. That's
Yeah.
it. There you go. Novice mistake, Frank.
No need for that. Unless you're working a convent. Unnecessary.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I've had some support in from 855. Hello,
Yeah.
lovelies. I had to have work IT look at my laptop and had celebrityheights.com and Ministry of Waxing open. Mortified.
Yeah, Ministry of Waxing. I like the sound of.
Feel your pain there.
Is that auto thing?
787. Frank, broil means to grill, not boil, to the numpty there. Love, Steve. That's directed to Alan the numpty.
So
I
broil
think
is
I
the
said
same.
it was boil.
But if broil is the same as grill, why have two?
Exactly.
It's an Americanism, isn't it?
Oh.
It's American corruption.
But they say grill, don't they?
They do.
They also say broil.
And they say griddle. They say loads of
It's
words,
a
actually,
zucchini
think about it.
courgette thing all over again.
Okay.
You say zucchini, I say courgette.
I say gambaccini.
Oh, okay.
Respect.
Another wild difference between America and the UK is the tipping culture, isn't it? I saw an article saying that the British don't typically tip as much as the...
Oh, I love typically tip.
Well,
Do you tip your hairdresser and takeaway delivery driver? The
Yes.
headline said. Yes.
I don't have a takeaway delivery driver,
Oh, I
but
do.
I tip my hairdresser £20.
20.
Yeah.
See, I'm even
me.
feeling anxious about that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it's all percentages. If you're paying 200 quid for a hairdo,
I can't say what I'm paying, but
No.
yeah, it seems reasonable. £5, £10 to the washer as well.
Wow.
£10 to the washer.
That is a lot of tip.
Yeah.
See, my wife, I thought...
That's what it costs in these high-end salons.
I thought that my wife paid £38 for her haircut, and so it was a awkward price to tip to round it up to 2. And I mentioned it to her, and she said, "No, it's actually £39," which is really bad pricing, isn't it? Because £1 tip is worse than 0 there, isn't it? They're just going to take.
They're
it
looking
back.
at 50 quid. That's what they're looking at.
They can't be.
You see,
They
I
can't
must say,
be.
very good use of that's what they're looking at.
No,
it's-
this is the north of England. They can't be expecting an £11
No.
tip on there.
Mine-
Surely.
I think
They
the
get
thing is you
0,
have to
by
see
the way.
these people again. And I think if it's a profession where the majority of their income is comprised of tips, I think that's fair enough. You're under moral obligation to tip people.
Is that what hairdressing is? It's
Yes.
the majority of their income is
Yes.
tips.
I
You're
would
all
say
looking
that's
as if
true.
this is common knowledge.
No,
This
I
can't be-
have no idea.
And waiters,
At
same
Mr.
thing.
Topper, where it's 9 quid for a haircut.
And you give 10.
No, I didn't actually. A lot of people apparently went to 10, but I gave them an extra 2 quid in change to make it, like a 33% thing. But I once spent 6 weeks in Japan.
Mr. Topper.
Where,
Hardly Mr. Tippers, is it? With your
No, not Mr. Tipper, eh? I spent 6 weeks in Japan, where they have tipping is not at all part of their culture; it's frowned
Exactly, yeah.
upon.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Sounds brilliant.
It's the only real holiday I've ever had.
Yeah.
You should
because
try
you don't
Yorkshire.
You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
I was with my manager once, and we had a stretch limo took us to the airport.
Oh, competition winners.
We hadn't paid for it. And
You look like such middle-aged competition winners.
No, it was a hen night. Offered us a lift. And he gave the guy, I think it was $7, which it was quite a lot of money. This is a long time ago. I was interviewing Robin Williams, so you can tell it was. And the guy said, "Thanks, I'll get myself a cappuccino." And it was, I couldn't believe it. But the tipping, it's a horrible, it's mogging, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's bullying. There you
Well,
go.
apparently people leave an average of £4.21 at a restaurant.
That's a
Who
rubbish
leaves
average.
21p,
No, but it's
counting
an
up the
average.
pennies?
It's
I
an
know, but
average.
come on.
My dad, I remember we had removal men round when we moved from one council house to another, and my dad actually put a £5 in the bloke's breast pocket of his shirt. He didn't give it to him. He put it in his pocket.
Excellent. Did he use the words "have a drink on me"?
I think he said have
I
a
hope
drink.
So that to me is old school tipping. Is have a drink on
but
me.
would you dare go up to a workman in your house and put a £5 in his pocket without...
I gave
Yes.
that engineer £5 and asked him to leave my home. I
My
see you wouldn't get
hairdresser,
out.
I did something terrible. My hairdresser, Rom, I put the tip, because he was doing someone else's hair by that stage.
In
so
his
I thought
belt?
I'd put it in his back pocket. Turned out it wasn't his back pocket. It was his pant line.
Brilliant.
I basically treated him like Magic Mike without realising.
Absolutely
I mean, I should
brilliant.
say he wouldn't be interested in me, or
No.
indeed Daisy or Charlie, but that's not the point. Don't put money in a man's
Why
pants.
is he aiming higher?
No.
Is that
No, he'd be more interested in you in
What do you mean?
Frank, stop him! Stop him
Oh, I see
now!
what you mean now. I
With
see what you mean.
workmen as well, there's an element of piggy bank about their behinds.
That's true. Yeah.
That could be really horribly awkward.
What about-
My girlfriend, she does. She goes to life classes, art classes.
Oh,
where
yeah.
she draws naked people.
Naked.
Of course, you don't have the £5 in the breast. You go for them with the £5 and then yeah, but they get tipped.
Do they
Yeah,
really?
they get tipped for good. They get paid, but they get tipped as well by the artists.
Depending on
What
how
do you
still
give
they've been.
What do you give someone for the nude posing then? Either cover it?
I don't. I
I
think,
think a £5 will cover it. It wouldn't mind.
one of those old fivers.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You know, we were talking about the old school tipping of saying, have a drink on me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody's texted, and also I remember reading this in a biography. Some old celebrity, possibly Tommy Cooper, it was Tommy Cooper, I can tell you that right now, used to place what the recipient thought was a cash tip in the tippee's top pocket and say, have a drink on me. The tip, though, was actually a tea bag. So they'd put a tea bag in their pocket.
I like that.
Have a drink on me.
I like that he carried a pocket of tea bags.
Well, I've updated it. I've given it a modern spin, and now I just give people that bring me food like a Nespresso capsule. That's what I'm doing. More like a George Clooney one.
You are Clooney-esque.
Yeah.
What about this 439 character, Al? Have you seen him?
Yeah.
I've been tipping my barber with lotto scratch cards and lucky dips each time for the past 5 years.
That's a good idea.
Do you think so?
Each time, I think it's an awful idea.
I use awful.
Time.
What about awful? So that's lovely. Thanks very much, Ia. Nice
Assuming he
pound of
has
lamb's
no
liver.
joy with any of them, is he still there in the high street? Much
I think
easier than
that's-
scratching around for change to give him.
I just find the whole thing an awkward embarrassment. I'd rather they just charge more.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And
Well-
then just keep me out of it.
Well, I read an email here from Tom Burton. I don't get tip doing my job, brackets carpenter. People are doing their jobs. I only tip at restaurants. I agree in a way. Like,
I'd like it if we got tipped.
there
Al.
are some jobs that seem to be tip exempt, aren't there? You know.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine if the controller of Absolute Radio came down and tipped us?
Yeah, but I think there's people who have jobs that they rely on tip. I mean, I couldn't get through life unless people were sending me free master pans and Bjorn Borg socks. I wouldn't be able
£1,000
to
pens.
live. I wouldn't be able to live, yeah, exactly. So I depend on it.
And you'd have no clothes to wear.
Oh.
Exactly. So the whole thing. I think people are also frightened that if they don't tip, that they'll get Mediterranean saliva in their food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
restaurants.
think I won't get good service the time I return. I call it insurance tipping.
Yes, exactly, and that's for the wrong reason, isn't it?
Oh, thank you for
I'd
that.
quite like to start unconventional staff tipping, like the ticket inspector on the train when he comes round and inspects my ticket. I'd like to just go, have 50 pence.
It's when people come up to you, take you up to your hotel room, and then they hang around.
Oh, I hate that. That all feels so clumsy and uncoordinated to go.
Oh, is that why they're hanging around?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I got lucky.
They come and show you how to switch.
I genuinely thought there was interest.
They show you how to switch the television on, and then they're waiting to give them £2.
Yeah.
Is that what it's meant to be?
Oh,
£2
it's really. There's freaks hanging around carrying your luggage.
working.
Yeah, people hanging around working. Sorry, this is Elvis Presley quote about people that work in hotels. It is not my own views, can I say? Anyway, thank you so much for listening this morning. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out!
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.